Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from deltacx.com. We are a full service CX and UX agency. We also do training. Check us out. Hello, Charlene. This is Tuesday Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I do this every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, and it is August 31st, 2021. Get ready for office hours. We've got 2 questions ahead of time. If you'd like to be among the first to get your questions answered, you can always send them in ahead of time at deltacx.link/ask. Otherwise, I will also be checking the LinkedIn and the YouTube chat rooms for questions. And hello to Aitan. So let's take a look at some of the questions that have already come in. Oh, good. There's the pandas. I was worried the system wasn't working today. All right, so the first question says, and it came in anonymously, any tips for salary negotiation? Everyone always says, don't say a number first. But where I live, job descriptions very rarely have salaries listed, and each time I have an interview, I'm asked what my salary expectation is early on. If I try to sidestep this, recruiting usually informs me they can't go any further without a number. Is there any way to get the upper hand in these types of situations and make sure I'm not leaving money on the table? Super question, and one we've never gotten before, so thank you so much for asking. I am definitely not a salary negotiation expert by any stretch, and I have written in my HR training, which is completely free, and send all the recruiters my HR training, deltacx.link/HR training. Don't forget the giveaway, deltacx.link-giveaway. What I say in my training is this is a game that everybody loses, because what I found is that if I start low and that number's in their range, they're happy to pay me low and they think they've won over me. Hi, Ekta. If I start high, because I think I'm such a great negotiator, sometimes companies won't continue with me. They'll say, gosh, that's just a little bit out of the range we wanted to pay. And if that's the number you want, then we don't want to continue with you because we assume that you're just going to leave our company whenever somebody offers you that. And I was like, wow, what a disgusting display of lack of trust for me, as if the only reason I take a job is the salary. There's so many other things in play. So I haven't found that the traditional negotiation tactic of start a little high and then be willing to negotiate down, I haven't found that to totally work, because sometimes people have been like, oh yeah, that's outside our range, so we don't even want to talk to you because you just want more money than we could ever give you and you'll never stay with us, which isn't true. The reality is that we shouldn't be put into this situation because ultimately every company knows what they're paying. Under no circumstances has a company created a job and has no idea what they're willing to pay for it. So, for example, I've been working at Immersion Group in addition to my Delta CX universe, and hopefully by the time you're watching this video in the future, that is still true, since I'm enjoying that job so far. We do have a budget in mind. We do not open up a job rec if we do not know what we're going to pay or they haven't approved the money to be paid to that person. We do ask people what they want to be paid, and given the culture of where this is, many people do give us a number. But we recently offered someone a job and we offered him more than he asked for. Why would we do that? Because he asked for a number that we thought was too low for how many years he had. So remember, there's nothing that stops a company from doing the right thing. I think the problem is that companies see this as a game where the casino has to win. And I think that that's unfortunate. And so what I say in my HR training quite clearly is, you are completely shitting on most of your corporate values and probably your diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives if you do this to people. Because it's very common that women and minorities don't negotiate as well as others. That's not a stereotype. It's just unfortunately true. And what this means is that if I ask for less, you're going to be like, oh, yay, we got one over on Debbie. She only wants X. Let's give her X. And I go, yeah, but if I ever find out that other people at my same level are being paid more, I'm going to feel like I lost a game. And so I think that we have to remember that if we care about diversity, equity, and inclusion, then we don't leave it to us to mess up the negotiation. We don't make this a casino game where we're designed to lose, where if the number's too low, they got one on us, and if the number's too high, they don't want to talk to us anymore. And if we don't want to tell them the number, they don't want to talk to us anymore, is the original question asked. We've got, hold on, let's grab some comments from the chat room to add to this. Yuvra says, at some instances, I found having multiple job offers. Yes, you need time to work at them, very difficult task. And yeah, so of course, if you can get multiple job offers where they happen to be offering them around the same time, that's great. But the problem is, if a company who isn't your number one makes you an offer and you say, can I take a few days to think about it? That's normal. If you say, can I please have 2 weeks while I wait for other job offers to come in? You've just told me you kind of don't want this job and we're not your first choice. That sends an unfortunate signal, and we did have that happen recently as well. Ectus says, do they not even confirm that the reason to not continue is your high expected salary range? Yeah, well, I've had people say that to me, that they're not continuing with me because the number I asked for was too high, and I'm just going to, even if they hired me and I accepted less money, they just assume I'm going to leave. I guess I'm money grubbing scum. I10 says, oh my God, I was actually watching a video about it and heard that 1,000 is the decent amount to negotiate. Like if you want 4,000, ask for 5,000 because they'll probably negotiate and you'll get 4,000. I assume this is per month, in euros. Yeah, so, but again, if their range was 3,000 to 4,000 and you say 5, you run that risk that you've played the game in the wrong way because it's a game. And now they go, oh man, she wants 5 instead of 3 or 4. Yeah, we're never going to have that. And she's probably not going to stay. She's going to wait for the company that gives her 5. Charlene says, I get very stressy. Yeah, certainly. I hate this game every time. I believe that it should be the responsibility of the hiring company to say what they are paying. Now, even that being said, I don't necessarily do that at Delta CX or at other places, but I will say if somebody names a number that's too low, I offer them more because that's the right thing to do. And so, for example, there is a number that I pay at Delta CX. Everybody's locked into the same numbers. Everybody's paid the same based on your level. And if somebody says to me, yeah, I really want $50 an hour. I say, well, for that level, I'm paying 60. And then they'll be like, oh, that's better. So I think that's the fair thing to do. I listen for people's numbers just to see what they say. And if they say, I don't know, or blah, 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 then I say, good news, this is the number I'm paying. If they quote a number higher than that, then I have to say, well, actually, we pay everybody at this level this. Will you accept that? And they might say yes, and they might say no. So that is my approach to it. I'm asking them just to know whether this is good news that I'm going to offer them more, good news that they're at the number I was going to offer them, or they're above the thing and I have to have a different conversation with them. But if somebody says, I'm not going to tell you or you tell me, I will tell them. And that's ultimately how I think it could go. I10 said, and Charlene, I'll get to your other question in a second. I10 says, would it make any difference to say, I'm open to negotiate just in case we're asking too much? That I find is country by country. For American jobs, I say something like that and I get away with it. So I can say, hey, look, my range has some flexibility in it. Why don't you interview me? And if you like me, make me the best offer you can. Make me the offer that makes me say yes. And some people go, all right, let's meet her first. But other people will be like, no, what's your number? So I think you can certainly try that type of approach. Like, I've got some flexibility because I really care more about the workplace and the environment and the culture. I have some flexibility, but I'd rather not name any numbers. Let's see what happens after I'm interviewed. You can try it. Kayleen says, would you consider disclosing Delta CX's pay outright? I can see some people saying companies should always put the salary out there. Yes and no. The difference is that you're not wrong. The difference is I don't put out traditional job open job recs. You don't see me on LinkedIn job site saying Delta CX has an open thing. Usually Delta CX is hiring the people I trust. So typically I'm going to somebody and I'm saying, hey, we've worked before, or hey, I heard good things about you. I try to stick to the people that I've gotten to know, or their trusted circles. And I'll say, hey, are you available for a project we're going to do? You seem like you could be a good fit. What's your normal rate? And sometimes they say a number, or they say, I don't know. And I say, great, I pay this. If somebody said to me, I don't know, what are you offering? I would just tell them. And so sometimes I do, like I sent a message to somebody yesterday and I said, hey, I think I'd like you to help out on a potential project. And this is what you would do on it. It would be a small number of hours. I just want you to kind of watch over it and make sure we're going in the right direction. And this is what I pay. And I just said that to them. So Kayleen's right. Sometimes you should just say it. Ekta says, sometimes companies have asked me whether I'm interviewing elsewhere or I have other offers. This was in the U.S. I see 2 anonymous questions coming in. We'll get you on the end of the list in a moment. There's a question after this, and I do want to take Charlene's follow-up question, and then we'll move to the second question and then the anonymous questions. So when companies say, are you interviewing elsewhere or have other offers, I just say I am actively interviewing elsewhere, but I don't disclose whether or not I have offers. And sometimes if I do have an offer, I will say that because I want to know that the company needs to move faster. If I don't have an offer, I might not disclose anything. Or if I think I just had some really great interviews, I might say I just had a couple of strong interviews and I wouldn't be surprised if I got an offer in the next week or so. So I think it really depends on what's going on for me, and especially if I'm asked that question, I wouldn't necessarily volunteer it. But I do tend to recommend that if you get an offer and there are companies you're interviewing with who haven't made you offers yet, I sometimes write back to them and I say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a week or so. I know you might still be going through your hiring process, but I did just receive another offer. They are expecting to get my decision in the next few days. Do you know if I'm shortlisted? Do you know what your process looks like? And very often they're moving too slow, or they didn't want me anyway. And it's like, great, I'll just take the offer I have. And I have a policy ever since a very long time ago. I have a policy of take the offer you have. If you have an offer and there's a company you're really excited about, but they haven't made you an offer yet, don't say no to this guy because this other guy might make you an offer later. I've been burned by that before. I've been burned by waiting for the more exciting company to make me the offer, and it never comes. And now I've said no to these people, and now I don't have a job. So typically, I feel very much like I want the people who want me. So there you go. Charlene says, do you say what stage you're on? No, I would just say I am actively interviewing with other companies at this time. You have no responsibility to tell them anything about your process or what step you are at. None. So I am typically fairly vague about that. As I just said, I will say I am actively interviewing right now. I won't tell them how many interviews or when they are or who they are. Never say who. There you go. I hope that helps. Let's take a look at Charlene's follow-up question and then we'll move on. Charlene's follow-up question was, I would like to know how to handle multiple job offers. And I think that really depends on what the offers are. So let's take that off. I think it really depends on what the offers are. I'm trying to think if I've ever had multiple job offers at the same time, because typically I follow my own advice, and when I get a good one in and it's a company I feel good about and the pay is right, I just go for it. Because I know that the more I put them off, the more I have accidentally or on purpose sent the message, you're not my top choice. I'm going to see what my other options are. And again, if you can buy time with some other thing, that's fine. You could say, hey, I'm interested. I'll take it. Draw up a contract. Because remember, it's not official until everybody signed the contract. So hypothetically, you could, in the middle of the contract thing, say, oh, you know what? I picked someone else. I probably wouldn't do that. I think that could end up leaving a bad taste in people's mouth. Charlene says, yeah, how do you take the offer and then decline? There's kind of that verbal acceptance and then you sign the letter. Yes, as soon as I've signed an offer letter or a contract, this is official and there is no going back and saying no. So my style would certainly be that once I am committed and I say yes to a company, I see it through. I do not still... I might still have a couple of more interviews because I can think of 1 or 2 jobs that were offered to me and the contract was coming and coming and coming and coming and it never came. So I do tell people it's okay to keep interviewing until you have a signed contract, signed whatever, but I wouldn't say yes to someone, keep interviewing, and then pick the other job and say, oops, sorry, no. Because remember, they've already told other people no. They might have told other people, oh, we filled this position. Now, maybe they haven't. Maybe they're playing their cards close to their chest as well. But just in case, I don't want people to be like, oh, Debbie Levitt, yeah, she's that person who you choose for the job and then she turns around and leaves for something better. I just don't want anybody to have anything to say about me in the industry. The end. So I hope that helped. Let's move on to our next question. And this one is a little bit of a video question, not with an actual video, but with someone who sent in an article that they want me to talk about, which is better for the reaction stream, but we'll do it today. Sorry, everybody, I started the theme song by accident because I pressed the wrong button. This is what happens when you run your own show. It also means that when the theme song stops, it's going to do the explosion thing and the whole thing, and so I can't control it. They're all linked together. I've accidentally set off the thing. So we'll look for the explosion when it comes. Let's see. Explosion now. Here we go. Because the theme song would have ended. Thanks, everybody. This is the One Woman Show reporting to you live from Pressed Wrong Button Land. All right, let's try this again. So I have I'm going to keep an eye on this button. Okay, good. Now you're seeing my screen. You can see how we can press the wrong button over here. Okay, so someone sent me this. And the question was, is it recommended to use these types of standardized questions for usability testing or come up with your own questions? What's your experience? Is it worth paying for them? And then we've got 2 questions anonymously and we've got Kwani. So I'll put you on the list after that. So this appears to be an article about how how you can use standard questionnaires and scoring. And they're saying that you can score for that you want to do scoring for these reasons. They'll keep you objective. The scores will be reliable because you've got numbers, so it's quantitative data. They should be valid because of how you did this. They should be replicable in that other people who were to run the same study should see the same scoring and answers. They're quantified, they're scientific, etc. So I get the pros of trying to get a score around something after you've done a task or testing type of study or session with someone. And they're looking at Questionnaire for User Interaction Satisfaction, which is from 1988, Software Usability Measurement Inventory from 1993, Post-Study System Usability Questionnaire from 1992, Software Usability Scale 1986, and Standardized User Experience Percentile Rank Questionnaire from 2015. So first I should say I don't use any of these because I found them flawed. The ones that I'm aware of I found flawed, but let's kind of walk through it. Let's see, what am I missing? Oh, Kayleen says, is it appropriate for businesses to ask if you're interviewing elsewhere? They can ask, but you don't have to answer it. Kayleen says, where's Darren? Yeah, I think we've talked about this one before. So it looks like here we're trying to give people these rating scores like, hey, what do you think about the messages we put on the screen? Confusing, clear. Well, that's a problem because they might have seen more than one message. So what are they responding to? Are they responding to all messages in a bucket? Are they responding to a specific message? And we're going to end up with some peak end rule here, I think, where people are going to remember their best experience, their worst experience, or the most recent experience. And so I'm not sure that that's going to give me the information I need. And remember, I'm more of a qual person than a quant person. If we get a score of 5 and we end up with an average of 5, what's going wrong? What do we do now? We don't know. We ran a survey. So next one has people doing, again, because these are quants, these are all survey styles, and y'all know I'm not a fan of that. The software responds too slowly to inputs. Sometimes, often. I think that would almost be a better choice here other than agree or disagree. That's super binary. I wonder what about, hold on, turn it on the fan. You didn't do it. I wonder if a better question would be like always, sometimes, rarely, never kind of stuff. But again, here, where did it respond too slowly? I want my tech team to fix that. I don't know where it happened. I would recommend this to my colleagues. Do not care. The instructions and prompts are helpful. Again, which ones? Which ones were and which ones weren't? Chances are you've got some good ones and some bad ones. Charlene says, I've had a usability session where we used SUS, but sometimes the users like everything on the test and then they didn't like it or had issue. Yeah, sometimes people do score these better because they think it's going to make you happier. If this software stops, it is not easy to restart it. Ooh, what year are we in? All right, let's look at the next one. Here's another survey. So we've got agree to disagree. We have a whole scale here. Overall, I'm satisfied with how easy it is to use this system. Okay, general temperature taking. I'm not for it. I really want to get at what they didn't like, what we need to fix. Congratulations if people liked stuff. And I also think by putting that question first, it's a little bit priming or leading. You liked this system, right? You're satisfied. You are satisfied. Give us a good score. I felt comfortable using this system. Again, these feel a little leading or priming. The interface of this system was pleasant. Yeah, I don't know what I can do with this, so this is not for me. So let's look at SUS, which is fairly popular, and it's got these 10 questions. We looked at SUS for a project we're working on in Delta CX earlier this year, and we decided we didn't like it. And I tried to redefine it to make it my own, and I didn't like what I ended up with. So this is probably going to be a no for me. I think that I would like to use this system. I agree that I think it. I agree that I'd like to use it. I found the system unnecessarily complex. Again, these are exceedingly broad for what might have been one or more tasks or workflows. So it's certainly not a qualitative measure. And it's good at least that we're not totally fishing for compliments here because this one is negative. I found this one unnecessarily complex. But again, so what they did was like positive, negative, positive, negative. I think if you look at it, that's what I remember about it. The system was easy to use. I would need the support of a technical person to use this. Again, there's something about this that seems outdated and not very helpful. And again, you're asking people to self-assess something that they just did. And I was trying to come up with a score where we are assessing what we just observed. I think that would be much better to say, now that I've observed people, they appeared to have problems with the system. They appeared to find the system easy. I would almost rather take them out of it and have it be what I observed. Sure, I could be biased and I could mess this up, but I wonder if that is better than people self-assessing. Let's see. I10 says, honestly, reminds me of clinical tests psychiatrists use to diagnose patients, score-based and quant. Michelle says, surveys like this just don't tell you what the real issues are to fix or celebrate. If you get a high score, yay, now what? If it's a low score, okay, now what? Too subjective. And Ekta, I see you have got a question, so we'll have to add that on later, I think. Or how do you as a qual researcher collaborate with quant when they're biased towards quant? That is a longer thing, and let's put it on the questions list. We have a few things I missed, and yes, the 2 people who sent in anonymous questions, I'm going to come back to, but we missed a couple of things here. We missed quanti. If I missed a question from you in YouTube, let me know. I'm going to paste them in here, and I'm going to go get the other ones. I think that covers that. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So we'll add the other ones in here. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna like the last one. Super cute. It's got a fun name. Fun names are fun. Let's see. Usability, trust, appearance, and loyalty. I will likely return in the future. If y'all have hung out on this channel long enough, you know I hate asking people to predict their own future. So that's a no from me. It is easy to navigate the website. I find that people who had trouble navigating websites later say yes to stuff like this. Oh yeah, that was easy. And I think it's because the question primed them. Or they want to make me happy. The information on the website is credible. Again, I find that out during my qualitative sessions. I have questions I ask to learn trust and credibility. I find the website to be attractive. That's really hard because if you use Amazon, as the example is here, there's aspects of the Amazon website that are attractive, and there's aspects of the Amazon website that are terrible that they haven't changed in 20 years. So, not feeling it. So yeah, in general, I'm going to go with no thanks on these things. If you find value in them, then of course, please use them. But I have not yet found value in them, and I have looked at them a couple of times for my projects. And I just find that this is a region of quant that doesn't really mean anything to me and doesn't help my project. Okay, let's take a look at our anonymous questions. Let's take a look. We've got two, and oh wait, did I ever get to the second question? Yes, that was the second question. So anonymous question 1, and let's get anonymous question 2, and then we'll jump on those, plus the other ones from YouTube. So please hold. Okay. Oh, someone just has an anonymous comment. It says, anonymous comment, I was interviewing for a job and expecting an offer and knew the salary when I started interviewing for another position, and I let them know up front, and the salary for that wound up being the anchor for the new job, and I was able to get a much higher salary than I normally would because I had leverage with the other company. Good point, anonymous person. If you do genuinely have a higher offer from somewhere else, you absolutely can say, look, I already have an offer for X, and if you can't beat that, then it might not be worth us talking to each other. And again, you can use that for your own thing. You can say, I'm already making X. You know, if you're not going to be able to beat that noticeably, then, you know, that doesn't matter. So, but again, it's all in how you want to play it, and ultimately I feel like we always lose no matter what. I10 says, thank you, anonymous person, with a heart. Thank you, I10, heart, and anonymous person. Okay. Let's see. Paste. Okay. So thank you, anonymous person. Now, anonymous question. And this says, what are your thoughts or opinion behind a company saying they want to hire you without even interviewing you? Is there a catch? So again, it's hard to know without knowing more, but I would say that very often those, well, I don't want to say very often, we don't know. Sometimes those are real and sometimes those are scams. And it really depends upon the context. Like when I lived in San Francisco, I started having a reputation for my work. And so I started getting calls from people who said, we heard about you, we think we need you. And can we meet you, or are you free? Now, did I ever get a job without an interview? Almost. My reputation was almost there. I did get a job once after a phone screener because they did they did 2 phone screens with me, and they were about to plan an on-site interview when they suddenly needed that job filled immediately, and they offered it to me. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't even have an interview. Like, whoa, they just need me right now. So could it happen? It could. But the main thing to do is to keep that critical thinking hat on and to ask some questions, and to take a look at what questions they ask you. It is a scam if they ask you for personal information. What's your address? What's your national identification number? What's your bank account number? How much money are you making now? Hold on a second. You know, what is this again? This sounds scammy. So you've got to keep your critical thinking hat on for these just in case they are scammy. So if a company says they want to hire you without interviewing you, I would probably still ask for an interview so I could ask them questions. We've talked before, and we'll talk in a few weeks when we do the LinkedIn. This isn't LinkedIn. When we do, I was looking at my phone and I saw LinkedIn popped up. When we do the show with Julia DeBari about questions you should ask to make sure this is a place where you want to work. So I would probably still call for an interview. Hey, I want to meet your team. I want to talk to you. If this is an on-site, I want to come into the office and see what's going on there. What's the culture like? Are people wearing masks? Or are they not wearing masks? So is there a catch? Hard to say, but does sound a little bit weird. Has it happened to me? Almost. But again, only because I had built up a reputation where people would just call, I'd get an email and go, we heard about you. We heard about you. Are you available? Can we talk to you? So it was close to that, but I would probably be very wary. Now let's roll back to X's question. How do you, as a qual researcher, collaborate with quantitative analyst in a team which is sort of biased towards quantitative and wants to test things mostly quantitatively? So thank you, Kwani. That was Kwani's question, right? Did I get all the questions? Anonymous questions. Uh-oh. I accidentally erased a question? Oh no. The person who wrote, "Hi, I'm your fan. I accidentally erased your question. I mean completely erased, can't get it back. Oh no. I am so sorry. Can you please send that one in again? I pressed copy and then forgot to press paste. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is the first time I've done that. If you are still watching, person, can you please send that in again? There's no way for me to get it back. I just remember it saying, "Hi, Debbie, I'm a fan," and then there was a question, and I'm sorry. I feel terrible. If you're still here, please send that question in again. All right, let's talk about X's question. Darn, I messed that up. I'm sorry. First time in over a year. It's bound to happen again. Sorry. Please send that one in again. deltacx.link/ask. I accidentally hit delete on it, and it's a permanent delete, and I can't get to it. I feel rotten. X's question. When a company is more biased towards quant, I think a good question is why. And I think we have to remind people that we'll learn how many of something, or how long they spent on a page, or did they answer a survey that they like something or they don't. But we just don't learn the whys and the whats and the hows. And I just try to remind people that surveys are usually not actionable. We really don't know what to do because somebody didn't we didn't get that qualitative information. We didn't learn what was going right or what was going wrong. We just got a score. And I always compare it to like the things you can press in airport security or in public bathrooms, or in my local supermarket, the produce section. How happy are you with this toilet today? And then there's all these faces you can press. If everybody presses sad face, what's going wrong with the toilet? We don't know. Or is people just grumpy, or they thought it was fun to hit sad face? What can we do about that? And the problem to me is that it just doesn't feel actionable. I don't know what I can do because people pressed sad face or people did whatever. So I think what I would remind a company that's a little hung up on quant is that while numbers are nice, what do we do? Usually the quant is good to show us what we don't know. Oh, I think she sent the question back in. Bless you, my child. I am so sorry about that. I hope you're still my fan. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm going to definitely hit copy, and let's hit paste a lot of times. Paste. Okay, I did it. Thank you, new anonymous person. I'm your fan now. Thank you for that and your patience. So I like to say that quantitative is a good way to remind us of what we don't know. Congratulations, our NPS is a 64. Congratulations, 77% of people said they might tell a friend about this. Now what do we do? This shows us what we don't know. And what we don't know is not going to be filled in by more surveys. It'll be filled in by our qualitative research. So I think qual and quant can go together in that way. That's what I would recommend, and that's a direction I would probably commonly go. Other quant things that are similar might be app ratings. Hey, this quarter, our average app rating was 4.3. Okay, why? Now we've got to dig into the app ratings. Okay, that's, we don't know why people said some of those things. Maybe we should meet some of them and see what's going wrong in the app. So again, I think quant is great, and then we can use it to fill in what we don't know with qual. I hope that helps. Okay, we've got a question from Shannon. I'll add that on to the end. Next question is the accidentally deleted question. Thank you again for your patience. And this person says, what about working as UX in a startup? Do you think there is a difference between UX responsibilities in a startup and in other organizations? Any advice about the perfect UX process in a startup? And we've got, Solomon. Okay, Solomon's kind of speaking to what Shannon is saying, and we haven't asked the question yet, so Solomon's ahead of the game. Super question. UX in startups, very, very often, not always, is more of a UI job from what I've seen. And very often startups have read crappy books like The Lean Startup, and they think that the best approach to products and UX is how fast can we go? How fast can we get this out to people so that we can say we shipped, we put out product, now we're getting that feedback that we want. But I would say check episode 116, which is rather long, but somewhere in there, I talk about how we have to reframe the MVP. And I think it's important if you're going to do UX at a startup, you need to talk to them about reframing the MVP. Because again, the MVP says, let's put out the least we can and put it out to the public and learn what people think of it and see if we're going in the right direction. That's almost completely opposite to what UX does. And so I suggest that we, first of all, not put out the least we can. There are no customers who are like, I really hope this startup puts out like just something really minimal, just like, one isolated feature. I sure hope they do that. Said no one ever. So thing one, you're going to have to shepherd an approach to quality and an approach to building what people really need, a task-based approach, not a feature-based approach, which we talk a lot more in micro lessons playlist. So advice there, reframe the MVP. The concept of the MVP makes sense. The intention makes sense. Let's put something out to the public so we can learn what people think and then build. But that's what we do in UX. If we are research informed and then we build something and we can prototype it and then we can test that prototype, we can fulfill the promise of the MVP. And we can find out by working with real or archetypal customers if this is going in the right direction. That means we don't have to waste engineering's time or the public's trust putting something out there that ends up being kind of wrong that we have to undo or fix. So there's certainly that to look for in a startup. Many startups, again, generally don't understand UX. They think this is just a UI job. You can tell from the job description, must have 3 years of Figma, must have a visual design portfolio. And then when you interview, they don't ask you what's your UX process. They want to see the good-looking visual design work you've done. Now you've got to ask your questions about, do we do research here? Do we wait for research to come back before we design or code anything? So I would say, Charlene says, what if the MVP is much more time-taking and lots of dev than the actual product? That's another story. So I would say these are some common things to look out for in startups. Another thing would be that they think you are the magical unicorn who can do everything in UX, but in like days. Hey, we need research and information architecture and interaction design and prototyping and testing. But hey, we're so agile, you're going to get a week. Doesn't exist, not a thing, can't be done. So, be careful of all of these things, especially once they want that monster super hybrid unicorn, or jack of all unicorns, as I like to say. How is your work going to be prioritized? It ends up being what I call a moving target job. Hey, I'm working on my research. Oh yeah, well, where's your screens? Well, I was working on my research. Get us those screens. Okay, so you start working on screens. Well, whatever happened to that research? Well, I was working on the screens. Yeah, but what about the research? All right, let me go finish up the research. Well, where's your final visual design? We need those final visual design. Why are you still working on the research? So I say be careful of these because I think they're setting you up to fail even if they have good intentions. That would be some of my advice about startup UX. It's funky. Now we've got the Shannon questions. And let's see, Shannon, she also had, the before awareness studies. Okay, we'll cue that up. And Shannon had contract to hire. Here we go. So Shannon asked, friend of the show Shannon says, how do you feel about contract to hire jobs if you didn't have your own company? As someone who works full-time for a company that offers health benefits, 401k, contract work scares me. Yeah, so now I find that's different across different people. I love contract work, and even when I was in America, I loved contract work, and I didn't want anybody's health benefits because they were usually the crappy health insurance that I didn't want, and so I was happy to pay for my own. And the other perks usually didn't make any sense for me. Very often they were things related to children, good health care for the children, child care, you name it, children. I see we have another anonymous question coming in. The event you mentioned earlier. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me put that on the questions list, and I will get to that after Shannon's 2 questions. So it really depends. And I've had a lot of people say to me, I don't want a contract job. It's unstable. I just want the full-time job. And I go, hey, I think the pandemic reminded us that even full-time jobs are unstable. Anybody can get cut at any time for any reason, especially in America. So I think that if you can get your health benefits elsewhere, or you're okay paying privately, because what I would do is I would say to companies like, look, I'm going to pay for my healthcare privately, so I want you to bump up the salary a little bit, because now that's something you don't have to pay for. And so I want to even that out. I want to make that money back. Hey, you are not going to have to spend money on childcare for me, or whatever your child-related perks are. Give me a little bit more salary for that, because these people are getting benefits I'm never going to use. So I've used that in some of my negotiations, whether as contract or full-time, because I don't want these things. I might say I'm not going to contribute to a 401k. You know, I need the cash right now because of other things. That's my choice. So I don't put some money in a 401k. Give it to me. You know, that's not totally future-minded, but I've done that in the past. I've done both. So contract work scares people because they perceive it as less stable than full-time jobs, but I think the pandemic reminded us that full-time jobs are also unstable, and that things can happen in geopolitics, in regions, in the world, in other things that make jobs go away. So I think that it's really a math game. If you can find a way to get health benefits from a spouse, there you go. If you were putting away money for retirement in some other fashion, there you go. It's really just about having your expenses covered. So obviously, when I was a contractor, I got paid a lot more than the full-time people, but that's because A, I was saving the company money on a bunch of perks they weren't going to give me, and B, I was going to have to absorb those costs myself. So it all washes out. Thank you for that. Let's take a look at Shannon's other questions, since they were back to back. And that was, yes, okay, should it be, okay. How do you feel about awareness studies? It's kind of a survey for brand recognition. I think I've seen these before. I think this is like, you know, when you think about fly swatters, what brands come to mind? And we check like if you happen to be thinking of this brand or not, or something like that. Again, I'm not a big fan of these studies because I think we have to ask ourselves, what does this mean? And if people didn't happen to remember our brand in the moment, was it just that they forgot? Or was it that they don't care about us? What does remembering us or not remembering us mean? And Shannon, tell me if I'm on the right track here with this. Yeah, Solomon says, what do you do with that information? 73% of people remembered us. Well, let's think about a company who I recently had a bad experience with. Can anybody think of a company I've recently complained about? I'm looking around. I'm looking around for something to piss me off. It could be anything. Well, look, I've got a really negative opinion about Facebook. Super hate him. Left them over 3.5 years ago. Not coming back. So hypothetically, you could say, can you name some social media sites? And I could say Facebook. And it go, oh, yes, 98% of people said Facebook. Yes, but I think you're a giant flaming bag of feces. And so, congratulations, I remembered you, but did anybody check if I remember you fondly? Shannon says, yeah, it's generally for marketing purposes and how many potential people we could get as customers. Yeah, so unless you're measuring the sentiment around it, like, hey, you said Facebook. What's your general opinion of Facebook? Positive, negative scale. Again, that's very big and temperature taking and general, and we don't know what they like and what we don't like and whether they'll give it a higher score because it's better than it is worse or whatever. But just because somebody remembered your brand or thought of your brand doesn't necessarily mean that they're attached to it, doesn't necessarily mean that they have positive associations with it. So it's one of those things where I'm like, why are we measuring that? Okay, we got a question that said the event you mentioned earlier where we learn about the questions we should ask to see if we want to work at the company. When is that happening? Let's check the events calendar. Remember, you can always access the calendar of events, deltacx.link/events. I'm just going to open the calendar on my phone because I think it's in about 2 weeks. Let's check. Oh, Monday, September 20. So it is about 3 weeks away. And this is going to be with super friend of the show, Julia DeBari, always a genius. And she will be our guest. That's about 3 weeks away, Monday the 20th. Please mark your calendars. You can also, because this is a Google Calendar, you can add this Google Calendar to your Google Calendar and always know what's coming up in the Delta CX world. It's free. And please, if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, I hope you will subscribe on YouTube. It's free unless you'd like to optionally pay. And thank you for those who do optionally pay to support me. Or if you paid at one point and you stopped, that's also totally cool. That money mostly goes towards chocolate chips and fun videos that I buy as the effects you see on the show. So reinvested. You can join our free Slack channel, deltacx.link/join Slack, completely free, no membership fees in the Delta CX world. Shannon says, doesn't answer any questions. Oh, no. Let's see. Am I missing any questions? Do not want to miss questions. Okay, I think I'm caught up. We've got about 10 minutes left. Thank you again to friend of the show, fan of the show, for re-asking the question when I forgot to copy paste it. I'm terrible. So yeah, did I miss anybody's question? I apologize if I did. You guys see the little bacon strip I've got with the chat room, and sometimes something goes by too fast. Very often we get over 100 comments per hour, and I do miss things. It is never personal. So let me know if you have any other questions. This is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I do this every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Italy time for about an hour, which means we are wrapping up in about 10 minutes. So send in those questions. Otherwise, we're going to have a sing-along. I just treated myself to Bluetooth earbuds, which I'm going to try on some of my work calls. I'm hoping it will let me stand up from this desk and move around. Just walk and get a cup of water. Pick up my weights over there. I do have free weights over there. I lift weights a little bit. Pick up my weights while nobody's looking and I'm on mute. Especially since at the immersion group job, we very rarely have cameras on for our meetings. I would say I have cameras on less than 50% of the time. Solomon has a question. Let's copy paste it. All right, it looks like this. Are there some requests that you would not qualify? For example, we want to add an info icon to explain the meaning of a label that was reported as confusing by users. Yeah, I was just having conversations about this one asynchronously with Ralitza. It's a really interesting thing to talk about, and I think we should do a show on it at some point. A lot of people think that the way to fix heuristic issues or user experience issues or usability issues is more explanations, more labels, more tooltips, more FAQs, more chatbots, more explanations, more training, more video how-tos. And these are generally considered bad UX because if you put that critical thinking hat on, and I know we haven't seen it in a while, let's get it on. If you put that critical thinking hat on, that's pretty good, you must imagine that the main time something is needed in this area is when it's not intuitive. If it were intuitive, we wouldn't need to fill it up with labels and tooltips and explanations and things like that. Charlene says, keep it simple, stupid, with a smiley face. So yes, I would probably say that if the label was confusing, why are we adding an icon? The icon can be good, especially if you have an international audience, and the icon might mean more than the label, but I would fix both. If the label is confusing, if you're having an information architecture problem or a content problem here, I would say we have to fix both. I wouldn't fix a bad label by adding an icon. I wouldn't fix a bad icon by adding a label. These should all be meaningful based on customers' vocabularies or approaches or nomenclature, which of course we should be determining in research. So would I ignore that request? I probably wouldn't ignore it. That could end up creating conflict and some bad will between people, but I would want to talk to people about why I'm not going to do that, or I would talk to people about why you got a new icon and a new label. So that's what I would do, especially if it came to me and say a Jira ticket. I would say, okay, here's a suggested new icon and new label, because evidently if the label was failing, why keep it? So yeah, if the label is confusing, we shouldn't keep it. And I wouldn't just add more to it. More isn't always more. Thank you, Solomon. Good one. Any other questions, thoughts, comments from people? We do have some more time. I'll stay here a few more minutes and then we will be wrapping up. It looks like over in the Slack channel, Shannon wants me to nominate myself for a TED Talk, though I have to admit I don't think I have your stereotypical TED Talk. I haven't discovered dinosaurs. I'm not going to talk about my sad childhood. I'm not really sure I've got a TED Talk. TED Talks, I think, are meant to be like inspiring, normally by telling people something terrible first. I'm not too sure. It's almost like an episode of Dateline. Just not a fit for me. Hi, Aftab. How you doing? I am well. How have you been? I feel like we haven't seen you in a while. Hope you are doing well and have been healthy. But who could say? I'm always concerned. Well, while we wait for some questions, let's look at the, let's open up the Delta CX ugly calendar of events, deltacx.link/events, and let me attempt to flip back to my own screen without hitting the wrong button again. Here we go. All right. So when you go to the Delta CX calendar, it truly is an old school Google Calendar. You can add the link to your Google Calendar. Here I've pressed agenda. And here's what's coming up. Wednesday, September 1st. That is tomorrow. How to get a UX job without experience, education, or qualifications. That's actually a Medium article I wrote. And as you can imagine, it's not exactly true. I'm going to be reading you my Medium article and taking your live questions and comments. Friday reaction stream. Let's zoom in on this. It's kind of small. Next Monday, I'm taking off from the show because it's a bank holiday in a few countries. Tuesday, we'll be back with Office Hours Ask Me Anything. Wednesday, of course, is our live networking for Slack community members. Again, it costs nothing to join the Slack, and I'm hoping people will network and start meeting each other and forming connections. Connections are healthy. Thursday the 9th, special extra podcast since there isn't one on Monday, and this will be Michelle Ronson is coming back to do storytelling and UX research. Friday, reaction stream. Feel free to send in your stuff. If you send in a program or boot camp or online course, I am saving those, and I'm going to do all of those in a separate stream. So reaction stream, deltacx.link/reaction. I10 says, I like all your guests and I would love to have more episodes with Stephanie. Yes, good idea. Stephanie's always a fun guest. I think she's been on 4 times now. She is super. Shriva says, I'm a lurker and listener and wanted to say, hey, I hope you're doing well. And I found out about the calendar. Yep, calendar is good fun. Really excited about Monday, September 13th. Leah Andres will be back. She's been a guest, I think, 3 times. She's going to talk about interviewing better, since I know some of you recently had some tough interviews where you just didn't answer questions as concisely and clearly as you wanted, and you found out they weren't moving forward with you. So we're going to focus on that. September 14th, Office Hours Ask Us Anything with the 3 Musketeers. And Darren and Dr. Nick and me. Wednesday, I have just added, at your request, I think it might have been Kayleen's request, a micro lesson on interpreting unmoderated UX research results. So I will show the same research things we showed in the setting up unmoderated research, and I will show you how I interpreted those results. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, Monday the 20th, we just talked about. That was questions to ask during interviews with Julia Dabari. Reaction stream, September 27th is our next Realities of Day-to-Day UX Work, our panel number 2. It doesn't say here who's on the panel. Let me open up my phone and tell you, because it's friends of the show. I'm so grateful for everybody joining in. It's Maggie, Julia, no. Yes, no. No, Julia can't do September. Okay, it's not Julia. We moved her to October. Julia shouldn't be on this one. I have to fix that. Hold on. Julia, no. Julia can't make this one. Save. Okay, so it's Maggie, Shannon, and Nick Morgan, a well-loved UX mentor. And we've moved Julia to October. Yeah, Shannon says me. It is you. I10 says, hashtag Stephanie fan club. Where's Stephanie? She should be seeing this. I will send her a message afterwards and I will ask her to think of another topic. Ooh, here's another one I just booked, you guys. I am so excited. Bettina, who was a mentor at our Concentric conference in May, she is an expert not only in the UX universe, but man, she knows it all about crypto and NFT, and I don't get this stuff at all. So she is going to teach us what the heck we need to know about crypto and NFTs, especially if we think we want to work in there. So come check her out. Follow her on LinkedIn. She just goes by Bettina, Bettina. Shriva says, can I know when the next Slack meetup will be? Where can I look? It's on the, yes, it is on the calendar. It's usually the, I think, 3rd Wednesday. So look for, where's Wednesday? Here it is, 2nd Wednesday, live networking for Slack community members. So yes, it is on this calendar. And so, yeah, I am always adding more stuff here. Great to keep up with this. And remember, you can add it to a Google Calendar. If anyone knows how to do like Google Calendar, add external calendar, put this link in, and now all of these will show up in your Google Calendar. You could even have them show up on your phone if you want. So yeah, I haven't really scheduled much in October yet. These are just the standard things like office hours and reaction stream and Slack networking. So we're pretty booked through September right now, and that's exciting. And I will ask Stephanie if she'd like to come back. So let's see, I don't think we got any more questions, so I think we're caught up, which means I can press the merge button and hopefully put back a giant picture of me. Okay, so we'll wrap up for today, but I will see everybody tomorrow for my Medium article on how you can get a UX job without any qualifications. Or can you? Boom, boom, boom. That needs this. So, and I'm working on a new Medium article that I haven't written yet. I've just dictated it into Otter, but hopefully it'll be coming soon, and I'll probably turn that into a show as well, since I like reading my articles to y'all. It helps get them out there and has a video version if people want to hear the article read by me and hear the intonation that I meant when I wrote it, and also gives you the chance to comment and question and be a part of the conversation. So it's something I enjoy doing, and I hope y'all don't mind those shows. And that one is going to be about, let me check my Otter, but I think it was about feature-based versus task-based. Oh. No, this is something else. Otter, stop selling me crap. Oh, what's this one? Feature-driven versus task-driven. Yep. Because I came up with a great way to explain it to a potential client the other day, and I was like, oh, that needs to be a PowerPoint slide and an article. So I've dictated it into Otter, and it will eventually become an article. Charlene says, Debbie, eagerly waiting for our work on Arba4D. Yes, Charlene, let's get an update. Pier Mario.
Yes.
Can we borrow you for a moment for an update on Arba4D?
Yes.
So while Pier Mario saunters the 3 meters, let me tell y'all, Arba4D is a website we're working on. It's still in testing mode. And it's going to be like Medium, and you'll be able to write articles and submit articles. And they will be peer-reviewed. They will be read by people with real UX experience, and that means we're not going to put garbage up on the site. No offense to anyone who writes something and gets rejected, but it is not going to be the way Medium is. This is Pier Mario with my green hoodie, pretending he has the cloak of invisibility.
No, it's the cloak of shame, because I should have already completed RB4D. Shalene, would you mind running some tests? Because I'm stuck at that point. Like,
we do need a little bit more testing, so let's grab shot. We do have a Slack channel about it, so right in the Slack channel, ask Shalene, give her a link, and tell her what to do.
Yeah.
Well, not tell her what to do. Ask her nicely to please do something.
Yeah. We're closed anyway.
We're close.
Yeah.
We're not closed. I thought you said we're closed.
No.
Siamo chiusi.
No, we're close to the result.
We're close. That's a soft S.
Yeah, close.
We're close.
Just as I'm almost invisible. So that's just how close it is. Goodbye. Oh, the special effects.
The special effects. Thank you, honey.
I have to pay for this.
I know. I need to like do the explosion again at the end of the theme song so it can look like you disappeared, like we're little kids with a video camera. Stop the video camera. Move the thing. Oh, it looks like it disappeared. Charlene says, sure, I can do some testing. Yes, don't take out your gun. You don't need your gun.
I'll ping her on Slack. Thank you.
Thank you. Pier Mario says he will ping you on Slack. So yes, Arba4D is going to be a website for quality CX, UX, Imhotep. Quality CX, UX, UI articles, and we will reject articles that we think should not be out there. Now, that won't stop people from putting them on Medium, but we're going to try to establish arba4d.com as a place to go for peer-reviewed quality articles, and they are going to be peer-reviewed. People like me and Charlene, hopefully Darren, other people are going to be doing it. Kayleen says, love the name. Yeah, it's from one of my slides that I wrote. I say, we believe in R&D, and we believe in R-before-D. Research before development, y'all. Research before design as well. So that's what we're calling it. If you go to it, I don't know if it says coming soon or if you'll see the test site version, but we need a little more testing because we're using a bunch of plugins that we bought and some of them aren't playing nicely together, and that's nobody's fault. Poor Pier Mario has to like write to support and get some help. Did you ever fix that weird login thing where it's like, you've logged in, now close this window?
That's the things I
Yeah, maybe we can find another plugin for that. We had some bad UX because of some plugins that we bought or incorporated. And one like had you log in if you wanted to be a writer, and then it would literally say, "You've logged in, now close this login box." And I was like, "We're a UX site? No?" So it's a little bit of battle of the free and inexpensive plugins, and that's why we've got Pier Mario working on that. For those of you who'd like to hire Pier Mario, hashtag not sponsored, you can find him. Did you launch your new site?
I still have some work to do on the English.
Okay, it might not totally be in English, but it is.
No, it's in English.
It's in English.
I just need to translate more portfolio.
More translation coming. Pier Mario's his own business. He's a WordPress dude, and he is at happierweb.com. So you can check out his work and throw some money at him. All right, we've run a little bit late since we went on a tangent, but it was a good tangent. Thanks to Charlene for reminding us. We've had R before D in our calendars, and every time Pier Mario and I look at it, which is usually over the weekend, we cannot get these plugins to play nicely with each other, and we didn't want to bug y'all. But yeah, come test it. Come help us finalize this. If you are interested in being part of the R before D team, just make sure you join Slack and let me know. Send me a private message because I think it is a private invite-only channel. And so we have a few people there. I think Hannah is there. Kayleen might be there. Charlene is there. I think Mateo was there. Let me check. Who's in R before D? Me, Hannah, Linda, Milika, Pier Mario, and Charlene. So, and Charlene's wrote, "Bring me my gun" on Slack. You're killing me with that. It's so, I hope you're not armed. So yeah, if you want to be part of the R before D adventure, people who would like to maybe double check the articles and be part of that peer reviewing, we will want peeps. So I'll see everybody in the Slack channel, deltacx.link/join Slack. Remember to subscribe on YouTube, empathize with the like button, give us a thumbs up. When the stream is over, drop some comments. It helps in the algorithm. And of course, the tip jar is always welcome, but certainly not required. And you can also donate to the channel by joining our paid memberships here. I'm not giving you too much other than emojis. I was going to do subscriber-only streams, but I think there are like 6 of you. So it just seems a little weird. What would I even do? But if y'all come up with something you want me to do as a subscriber-only stream, I will happily do it. So send me some notes in Slack and say, yeah, if I'm in the mid-level, the higher level paid tier that gets the subscriber-only stream, I wish you did this. And then I'll plan it for you because that makes people want to subscribe. But again, I don't want anyone to feel like they're missing out on something if they don't pay. So this would be something fun extra we did, not that, not an interview with someone where other people miss it. I'm really serious about making sure that we give people as much free stuff as possible. Iton says, wait for me to get my first salary. Yes, again, supporting this channel financially is totally optional. I don't do it for the money. As you can see from the repeatedly empty tip jar, I'm not going to stop. This is too much fun. So I've got another call coming up in 20 minutes. So and I got to go feed the dogs. Pizzolo is doing okay. For those of you wondering, you can follow his progress on the dog Instagram, which I'll put up on the screen since I know it's hard to spell. You can follow our dogs on, oh, that's already in my thing. It's okay. So Canetti Perfetti. You can follow our dogs, and one of them got wounded recently, probably because another one bit them. It's in fact 4 giant teeth marks on him. So I'm going to go with, and he's on his antibiotics and painkillers. He's hanging out in the house. He's doing better. So I'll see everybody on Dog Instagram, and I'll see you tomorrow for what do you think of the article I wrote? Thanks, everybody. Be well. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are